arrival in the playoffs. The prince who was promised carries Jacksonville to their first playoff game of his young career. But can he get back to his midseason success? Meanwhile, Dak throws yet another pick six and the Cowboys lose. But could this loss actually be good for Dallas? And finally, the Kansas City Chiefs, so bored with winning, decided to break out this play. I've heard it referred to as the Arctic Circle, which I liked. Also the Snow Globe. Yeah. Seems like a lot of Nick Wright in the show early.
What a day.
I'm Kevin Wildes alongside
Where'd the
Chris
trumpets
Broussard.
go?
Okay, they'll be back.
Oh, okay.
This was a wonderful play. Do you have anything to say about the Chiefs?
You know what?
So far?
I'll save that. Okay. I'll save what I was right about with the Chiefs after we get to what I was right about with the Packers.
Okay.
So let's just go ahead.
Show.
Yeah,
we've got a lot. Joining
what was my New Year's resolution, Wild?
Mr. Consistent.
No, be less hungry.
We start with the Packers packing. As correctly predicted in Upset Alert, the Lions knocked off the Packers behind Rodgers. 17 completions for 205 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Brew? You believed in the Packers, then you didn't believe. Where are you now with Aaron Rodgers? He's out of the playoffs.
Well, he deserves the lion's share of the blame
I like that.
for why they're out, no pun intended, for why they did not make the playoffs. And you guys know, I sat up here last week and with Nick and Coach saying Rodgers doesn't deserve much credit, I gave him the lion's share of the credit for the win streak,
but
right? Because he set the tone.
Yep.
Right? He set the tone. We're not quitting. We still got a chance. True. We're not eliminated. I thought the locker room believed because Rodgers believed. I didn't like Nick, and I said it from the jump. Why take the victory lap?
Yep.
He was talking last week after they pummeled Minnesota.
Like it was over.
Like they had made the playoffs. He mocked the media. Oh, they were talking about us when we were 4-8, blah, blah, blah. He was smug. He was condescending. He was cocky. Like the Lions weren't even there. And then, I don't know if that affected everyone, but it may have caused him, again, no pun intended, to relax. He relaxed just enough, just a little bit. And he was not on the top of his game. And the defense held the Lions to 20 points. One of the best offenses in the league, held them to 20 points. Rodgers did not get it done. You put up 16 points, 1 touchdown against one of the worst defenses in the league. You can't throw for more than 205 against one of the worst pass defenses in the league. And the ending, Nick, he threw that interception up like it was just a jump ball. I mean, he just threw it up. It was almost like he wasn't looking.
Threw it up like it was 4th down with 30 seconds left.
Thank you. I was saying it's 3rd and 10.
Correct.
Why don't you throw underneath between 10 and 8 and 15 yards?
How did last year's season end? With it, and it didn't get picked, but him trying to take a deep
right. So Aaron Rodgers.
It's another home playoff loss.
Third straight year they lost to a team in Lambeau
that they were
everything
the favorites,
on the line.
Correct. And let's talk about that because this is an abject disaster. It's the worst case for all Packer fans, particularly the ones that said I was wrong about playing Jordan Love. How's that take look this morning or this afternoon? But we can get to that in a moment because I already know Kevin Wildes, the only thing he wants to talk about is what's next for the Packers. And you know what would be good if the Packers knew what the other quarterback looked like. But we'll wait to get to that before we get to this. This is the 3rd straight year. They are favorites. They are in their building. They are in a winnable game. And in the 4th quarter, Rodgers is terrible. And each year, it has come earlier in the calendar. Conference championship weekend, divisional round weekend, and now week 18. This is his 4th quarters. And believe it or not, and by the way, I totally stole this from the Herd. That makes Herd thefts 807 their way and 1 my way. So I got 806 more than I can do. This was Colin's graphic, though. In the 4th quarter of that NFC Championship game against Tampa, Brew, here's what they did. 3 and out, and then the fateful field goal when he didn't run the ball and they didn't trust him to go for it. Against San Francisco, the 4th quarter starts with them 1st and goal from the 7. They settle for a field goal. 3 and out, and they lose. Yesterday's game, the 4th quarter starts with them going 5 and out, and there's a little asterisk there. Not asterisk, but he threw a pick on that drive. It just didn't count.
Yes.
And he got very lucky because the penalty had nothing to do with him throwing the pick. And it was the exact same guy, exact same type of play. And then I guess that was right before the fourth quarter, I should say. They ended up going 5 and out on this drive that ended in the fourth quarter, and then a 6-play drive that ends in the pick. It's just a disaster.
Dude wasn't even close to being open.
No, that is the type of throw you see from an inexperienced quarterback.
Yes.
And for him to, when LaFleur's first year there, Wilds, they made it to the conference championship game, and they got crushed by San Francisco. And he said, it'd be nice if we could have one of these games in Lambeau. Yeah. And then they did the next year and they lost to Brady. Okay, it happened. It's Brady. Then they did the next year and they lost to Jimmy Garoppolo. Not great. No, I mean, not great. And now this year, they're at home against Jared Goff and the Lions. And the last point here, that is the worst defense in the league.
Yes.
Detroit.
Yes.
Detroit's the reason Detroit is 9-8 and not 11-6 or better is purely because of their defense. Yes. Their offense is fantastic. So the Packers defense actually did its job relatively. Yep. That's a disaster for Aaron Rodgers.
You will like this comparison, I think. Now, Rodgers does have the one ring. You can't take it from him. He's a made man. But he reminds me of James Harden. Tremendous regular season. We've seen the failures. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't had good games here and there, and so it's Harden in the playoffs. But
I would say
lately, last decade, how about
the basketball comp I would have used was Wilt. But the unbelievable regular season stats didn't win as much and seemed to have some leadership issues. But there is certainly not Mahomes. He's certainly not Brady. He's certainly not these guys he's been compared to.
All right, spinning it forward to the future, Aaron Rodgers going to provide us with months of content. Will he retire? Will he not?
He's not
I don't know. Take a listen.
It's a feeling. Do I feel like I have anything left to prove to myself? Do I want to go back and gear up for another grind? Or is it time? Is it time to step away? Is it time for another voice to be leading this team? It could be time to step away. But I could take some time and say, hell no, man, I need to get back out there and go on another run. But I'll have to see what it feels like once I'm away from it.
I also, it's like $50 million. Do I want $50 million or no? Nick, your reaction?
I'm sorry, but this is why they had to use the last month to find out if Love can play.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Hold on. Why are you poo-pooing this?
Because Jordan Love's not Aaron Rodgers.
Hold on. Jordan Love, you think Jordan Love couldn't have played that game yesterday?
Well,
you don't think Jordan Love yesterday could have done that? Okay, but
no, go ahead. I want to hear this.
The reason Rodgers now gets to, whether he wants to or not, hold them hostage. They now have to play by his rules, on his timeline, on everything. And they don't have any great tangible way to improve that team. Had they taken their medicine and recognized 4-8 is 4-8, maybe we hit the moonshot and sneak into the playoffs and get waxed. Or maybe everything falls exactly the way we hoped it would and we still miss, which is just what happened. And they would have known either Jordan Love stinks. He can hold us hostage. Ooh, yikes, but at least we can move on from him. Or Jordan Love's kind of good. And there's a lot of teams out there that need quarterbacks. If Aaron wants to come back, maybe we trade Jordan and try to get an asset back so we can compete with Aaron Rodgers. Or maybe Jordan Love's awesome. And they're like, you know what, we made you sit for 3 years. We made Jordan sit for 3 years. We moved on from Favre. We can move on from you. But now it is just the total unknown of what their quarterback situation would be without this guy, which allows him to play this exactly by his own rules, which is the worst case scenario for the Packers.
It's not too late. I listened to his whole press conference. He gave the Packers some outs. He said their feelings toward him and whether or not they want to go young with Jordan is going to be a part of his decision. He also said he wouldn't have a problem walking away from the money, but I'm not going to believe that one. But here's what I do. If I'm the Packers and I meet with Aaron Rodgers, I say we want to, Aaron, we do want to go young. We know you're still great, but we want to go young with Jordan and see what he does. Maybe he will try to hold him hostage, but they could probably handle the dead cap hit because they're not paying Jordan Love
of course.
next season. So I turn it over to Jordan Love, and I either trade Rodgers